settler culture Canadians. I'm also wanting to send a shout out to my friend, current Member of Parliament for Beausejour, Dominic LeBlanc. I send you love and continued best wishes for your healing. You're in my thoughts and prayers. And now we have another plank announcement emphasizing more elements of our platform, the Green Party platform, for the 2019 campaign. Je suis tellement fière de notre plateforme. C'est complète, c'est compréhensive, and nous avons une vision vers l'avenir. We're the only party with a comprehensive vision for our future that is both affordable and sustainable, in that it's founded on principles of avoiding the climate crisis, which has been so much in the news thanks to the UN special summit that occurred yesterday. I do want to focus today on elements that affect the climate crisis and affordability by focusing on what the Green Party will do for rural and remote communities. I just finished, as Laura will remember, we did a 34 city and town tour of every province in Canada and the Northwest Territories from February of this year, wrapping up midsummer. And we visited communities here in New Brunswick. We visited communities, as I said, in every province and territory, and one territory. What we heard was remarkably similar. And we also came upon what is a national crisis, but which tends to only be identified as a local concern. So when we were in rural British Columbia, or not even rural, Prince George, Kamloops, we heard how devastating it was to lose Greyhound service, but everyone thought it was local. And we were in Saskatchewan, and everyone's telling us, oh, we've lost our bus service, and everyone thinks it's local. And in Atlantic Canada, we've lost bus service. At the same time, over a period of decades, Via Rail service has been significantly reduced. When I went to law school and I was living on Cape Breton Island, my mom would drive me to the Orangedale train station. Believe it or not, you could put up a big metal post. It had what they called the flag, a large piece of rectangular bright orange, the flag. So the engineer could see that there was someone at the Orangedale station slow down and pick us up. I could take the train, and I did, to get to Dalhousie Law School where I earned my degree. You can't do that today, nor can you find a bus. And right across Canada, we have a crisis in that people living in rural and remote communities have virtually no access to public transportation. This is unacceptable. In a province like New Brunswick, where the hospitals have focused on increased centralization and specialization of care, you can live quite far from the hospital where you have to go for your appointment, and you are left only with the option of either having a friend drive you or getting in your own car. And in the winter months, we know what that's like. It's taking your life in your hands, and all the costs are on you to get from where you live to a hospital appointment. C'est pas acceptable ici, dans un pays si riche que Canada, un pays industrialisé, d'avoir un système de transport en commun qui n'est pas assez bien que le système de transport au Mexique. C'est vraiment incroyable, c'est inacceptable, c'était inacceptable. Pour le Parti vert, nous avons aussi un plan pour le transport en commun dans les grandes villes, bien sûr, mais aussi pour les petites villes partout au Canada. So we want to put in place by 2040 a system of transport that is zero carbon, convenient, and affordable right across the country. Tout le monde au Canada devrait compter sur les transports en commun en matière de transport et pour un système de zéro carbone. En même temps, il y a des problèmes de services dans les villes plus loin des grandes villes. So in our more remote communities, we also have problems of services. They're being withdrawn. Particularly if you consider commercial banks, their bank branches are being withdrawn. A lot of services we used to consider were to be taken for granted. Daily postal service to our doors, withdrawn. So we are also putting forward, in the aid of making sure that rural and remote communities have the services we need, expanding what Canada Post offers. Every Canada Post office, where we'd originally planned to hold today's press conference, every Canada Post office is an outreach of the federal government to every community. To make Canada Post sustainable financially, we need to expand services. We need to look at postal banking. The commercial banks can't get into local communities anymore, apparently, to give people the banking services they need face to face with someone who knows their needs. The postal banking system can provide in the post offices broadband for communities where people don't own a computer at home and need that service, can provide a spot for a locus for emergency supports when we face extreme weather events. In other words, we can make Canada Post a hub of services right across this country. If you look at what I think is the most exciting postal banking system that I've seen, it's in Israel, where the post offices offer, I think, up to 70 different kinds of services, including great daily service to your door, that they will get anything delivered anywhere, any parcel, any day, same day. Now, of course, Israel is a smaller country geographically, but the model of being able to make postal services financially secure and sustainable comes from diversification of services and a change of direction. This is the direction the Canadian Union of Postal Workers have been demanding. This is what the Green Party wants to do. Follow up on the promise that has not been fulfilled by the current Liberal government of being able to restore daily service to your door of mail delivery. At the same time, create a broader range of services for rural and remote communities. C'est vraiment pratique, et nous avons le faire, nous devons le faire. So we're happy to answer any questions en anglais ou en français. Malheureusement, you can't tell this on television, but our cameramen are standing in the rain, so I'm not interested in making you stand there longer. If anyone has an umbrella for Steve, please get it to him now. Okay, open for any questions anyone might have.
Oui, bonjour, Michel Bouloud, Radio-Canada. J'aimerais vous poser la question au sujet de vos chances de percer en Atlantique.
Ouais.
Est-ce que vous pensez être en mesure d'avoir des candidats élus et combien?
Ouais. Pour moi, comme chef de parti Vert du Canada, mes espoirs sont vraiment hauts. Je suis vraiment optimiste d'avoir un percé ici dans le Canada d'Atlantique. Un moment.
Is that the pool? That's the pool, Canada?
Ouais. Ouais. Alors, je veux dire seulement que mes espoirs, maintenant, je suis vraiment optimiste. Nous avons eu déjà les députés élus au Nouveau-Brunswick, au niveau provincial. Ici, dans cette circonscription, Megan Mitten, évidemment, était le député de Tantramar-Memramcook. Et j'ai beaucoup d'espoir pour Laura Rainsborough ici, à Beauséjour. Aussi pour Janica Atwin à Fredericton, ou David Kuhn, le chef de Parti Vert et mon homologue. Maintenant, il est évidemment le député de Fredericton dans la législature du Nouveau-Brunswick. Puis aussi, pas loin d'ici, Kevin Arsenault dans la législature du Nouveau-Brunswick. Quand les électeurs regardent les députés élus verts au niveau provincial, ce n'est pas une grande étape d'imaginer les députés verts au niveau fédéral. Même chose pour Île-de-France-Édouard, où nous avons maintenant l'opposition officielle avec le chef du Parti vert de Île-de-France-Édouard, Peter Bevan Baker, bien aimé, bien connu, le même que David Kuhn, bien respecté, parce que tous les deux travaillent fort et tous les deux ont la réputation d'intégrité et d'éthique par excellence. Et j'espère que le Parti vert maintenant, dans les sondages, c'est le parti, dans tous les autres partis politiques au Canada, nous sommes le parti où nous avons la plus grande majorité de confiance dans notre intégrité et éthique. Et pour ça, je pense que nous avons une grande chance de percer dans la région maritime, aussi au Nouvelle-Écosse.
Est-ce que vous pensez pouvoir aller chercher combien?
Le plus que c'est possible. Mais c'est difficile de dire seulement un nombre de députés. plus qu'un, mais pas tous les députés de région atlantique, comme
Au
la
moins
dernière
un.
fois avec les libéraux.
Oui. Oui. Au moins un. Un député au moins.
Oh non, plus d'un, oui.
Plus qu'un.
Et tu peux dire quelque chose?
Oui,
Laura,
alors-
la candidate ici, tu veux ajouter?
Est-ce
Oui,
que
bien
vous pouvez
sûr.
me dire votre sentiment par rapport aux chances d'être élu et de voir des Verts élus dans la région?
Oui, moi, j'ai commencé à faire le porte-à-porte au mois de juin. Je le fais à toutes les journées. Et ce que j'entends à la porte, c'est que les gens sont prêts pour le changement. Et le Parti vert offre un changement vraiment positif. C'est vraiment, ça s'aligne avec les principes de la plupart des Canadiens, les principes du Parti vert. Et les gens sont maintenant prêts. On a vu avec, ici à Memramcook-Tantramar, ça fait maintenant 1 an depuis que Megan Mitton a été élue, et aussi à Kent-Nord avec Kevin Arsenault. Les deux députés-là, ils sont ici dans la circonscription de Beauséjour fédérale. Alors, les électeurs de Beauséjour ont vu qu'une vote verte, ça peut faire la différence.
Merci.
Elizabeth, just
David.
a question about somebody else's tour today. The Liberal tour is talking about new action on climate action. Everybody, we're going to be net zero by 2050 is the commitment the Liberals are making today. I wonder if you have some thoughts in general on if I'm thinking about issues around sustainability and environment, and I'm thinking Liberal or Green in my vote, why wouldn't I choose them knowing you're not going to be the government?
Well, I'm disappointed in what the Liberals announced today. It clearly shows that they're hearing the voices of our own children on the streets, but they're not serious. A commitment to get to carbon neutrality by 2050 is good, but they're putting a promise out there for 30 years from now. I need to know what they're going to do in 2 years, in 18 months. I need to know what they're going to do by 2025, because their current target, and I want to be very clear about this, the current target that the Liberals are holding to makes it impossible for them to keep this new promise. You can't set a goal at 2050 of carbon neutrality and only be 30% below 2005 levels by 2030, which is their current target. It's the Stephen Harper target. They have yet to put a plan in place to hit that target. Is it preferable to Maxime Bernier? Oh, yes. Is it preferable to what Andrew Scheer has offered? You bet. But it's not anywhere near what is required. And that's why people, if you want green policies, don't be misled by greenwashing. You have to vote green if you want a green policy.
And speaking of greenwashing, one of the people they put out front today to talk about this was Stephen Guilbeault.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you may have had some discussions with Stephen about what party he might want to do and talk about I suppose, the greenwashing they're trying to achieve by using Stephen Guilbeault in this announcement.
You know, Stephen Guilbeault is a dear friend, and I don't want to get personal about it. I'm disappointed in the choice he made because he's in an untenable position. He has to say, I'm running as a Liberal, but I'm against the pipeline. I was arrested fighting the pipeline. My credentials on fighting pipelines are pretty clear. I thought Stephen Guilbeault was clear too. You can't run as a Liberal and say, I'm against the pipeline and have credibility anymore. I'm sad to say it, but buying the Trans Mountain Pipeline and committing public dollars in the $10 billion plus, it will probably go above the current estimate. It will be at least $13 billion of public money to build a pipeline to boost greenhouse gases when you say at the same time you're going to get to carbon neutrality by 2050. That's infrastructure that lasts 35 years minimum. You can't do it. So there's a certain amount of cognitive dissonance going on. I always think whenever I hear Catherine McKenna say the environment and the economy go hand in hand, the image that now pops into my mind of the hand in hand is Thelma and Louise at the end of the film. We're heading for a cliff, and hand in hand with the Liberals, we'll go off the edge. It's not good enough.
Thank you.
To return to your postal announcement, the town of Sackville has no door-to-door postal delivery. Under your plan, would that be reinstated?
Yes, under our plan, postal door-to-door service for Canadians will be reinstated. We're investing in Canada Post, and we want to change the corporate direction. Now we recognize that it's a Crown corporation. It's got a board in place that seems to want to destroy it. We're taking the side of the workers. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers understands what we need to do to keep postal service in this country sustainable financially. It calls for a diversification of services. It calls for postal banking. It calls for making sure that Canada Post makes money while it delivers our mail. And it's doable. I mentioned Israel earlier, but I can mention many, many countries around the world, the UK, for example, where people go to their post office, continue to go to their post office, and allow the post office to be financially secure. What we're doing now, we know that the delivery of parcels by Amazon and so on is driving up parcel delivery for Canada Post. But we have a very detailed plan for Canada Post, and you'll find that it aligns quite closely to CUPW's plan.
You say it's doable, but what is the cost involved? Do you have an estimate?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll be releasing our budget with the planks that have been reviewed by the Parliamentary Budget Office, and I'll be able to get into more details on the cost tomorrow when we do our press release in Halifax. But it is doable, it's within our budget.
Now, as you know, the Harper government has to be a rail service in this region.
Yeah.
With your promise, are you advocating daily service
Yes.
from Halifax to Montreal?
I'll be jumping on the train tomorrow because I don't have a lot of options for what day I jump on the train, since it only leaves every, is it 4 days or 5 days out of Halifax? In Vancouver, to get the train to go to Toronto, you've got a chance every 4 days. You get off the train, you have to wait 4 days for the next one. This is absolutely unacceptable. We're running essentially an antique railway, increasingly only for tourists, but as the bus service disappears, people are depending more and more on Via Rail. So in our vision of a transportation system that makes sense, Via Rail is like the backbone. It gets substantial funding, over $700 million new dollars a year, to expand service. We also need to build new track. We need to make sure Via Rail can run on time, which means in many places across Canada are the pinch points where Via Rail goes to the siding to make sure freight goes through later. And as a frequent Via Rail cross-country traveler, I know where those pinch points are. We could build 10 kilometers of new rail to assure that Via Rail could bypass the places where freight makes us wait on the sidings, so that we can continue to run a service that's on time and daily. I think 800 jobs were lost in Via Rail when they cut the service on the Ocean Line, which runs Montreal to Halifax. They cut that substantially by only one train every 4 days. We need to expand Via Rail service. We need to also build, in certain regions, we know it will pay for itself to have high-speed rail from Edmonton to Calgary and in the Windsor-Quebec corridor. We really do need to invest in Via Rail, but that's only the start of our plan, because coming off of the Via Rail daily service across the country are spokes of that system. If Via is the hub, the spokes are light rail electric. And of course we need to electrify Via Rail and modernize it, but we need to have also electric bus service. And this doesn't just tie into climate action for rural and remote communities. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that one of the findings of the inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women was that the reason that these women were particularly vulnerable was the lack of affordable, safe transit that forced them into hitchhiking. That makes women very vulnerable. It makes young men vulnerable. We need to have what any other modern industrialized country has, regardless of the size. We need decent public transit. And I would also add, not just making the current routes daily, but we used to have daily service. Quinn, come over here. Quinn is one of the climate striker kids. Quinn, how old are you?
14.
Okay, Quinn is 14. Her grandma's one of my friends, and she lives in Wolfville. We used to have daily service from Halifax to Wolfville on Via Rail. Quinn is a climate striker kid who got a ride here all on her own to join our press conference today. And I want to thank her for dedication and for getting her voice out there. You've done YouTubes, haven't you?
I've done a TEDx talk.
A TEDx talk. Where can we find your TEDx talk, Quinn?
It's on YouTube, and it's also on the TED website.
Yeah, climate strikers are found right across Canada and all around the world. And I'm so proud to know this young woman. In any case, when I thought about the daily train service, we used to have Halifax to Wolfville, Halifax to Sydney. Come on, we're going to bring it back. We need to ensure that rural Canadians don't feel neglected and ignored. Our candidate, by the way, in Gaspé is Dennis Drainville. He's the former Bishop of Quebec, but his wife, Cynthia Patterson, ran a group called Rural Dignity. And in the 80s, boy, did we fight the Mulroney cuts to our post offices, cuts to Via Rail. cuts to all kinds of services to rural Canada. We want to invest in infrastructure to ensure that wherever you live across Canada, you've got the broadband you need, you can work remote, you've got the transit you need. As an older Canadian, over 65 like me, I don't want to drive at night to get somewhere I need to go. I want to know that I live in a country that provides convenient rail service, convenient bus service. This is not too much to ask. This is the minimum we should expect, is investments in infrastructure, not just for our big cities, but for our small communities. We also need water and water system infrastructure investments. Cities, small towns right across Canada can't afford the cost of replacing aging sewer pipes. These are things that a country that thinks like a country does together, and we do climate action together, because I don't want to leave Quinn to have to do this by herself, because she's 14 and I'm 65, so it's my job. Anybody have any other questions? Des autres questions? Thanks, Gwen. I didn't warn her I was going to do that. You see how great our young climate strikers are ready for national news anytime you ask them. Quinn, come back over.
If you wouldn't mind moving Ms. May aside, I wouldn't mind asking you a question. Would you like to answer a question? Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing is, did you watch Greta yesterday, the speech that Greta Thunberg made at the United Nations by any chance?
I did.
It's a pretty strong speech. Do you want to
Yes.
tell us what you thought about that speech?
I thought that Greta's speech was very powerful, and it was exactly what they needed to hear.
Cool. And tell me, when did you become a climate striker and why?
I started striking last March when the Sackville Youth Climate Change Coalition formed to organize strikes in Sackville. And I decided to start striking because I think it's really the only way that we're going to get any attention from the media, from the government. And we need to have that attention because our future is at risk and we need action right now.
Okay, and here's the easy question. Can you just, for all of us, tell us your last name and spell it for us, please?
My last name is McCaskill, M-A-C capital A-S-K-I-L-L.
Thank you.
And do you have to speak French?
Yeah.
Est-ce que tu pourrais nous dire en français ce que tu penses pour l'importance de travailler pour les changements climatiques et tout ça? Pourquoi c'est important, l'environnement?
Je pense que l'environnement et notre planète est vraiment important parce que c'est pourquoi on a la vie et notre planète nous a donné tout ce qu'on a et on devrait montrer du respect pour ce qu'on a.
Et depuis quand est-ce que tu t'es lancé dans cette aventure-là, toi? Depuis quand est-ce que tu crois que c'est important ou que tu fais partie du mouvement?
Depuis que j'étais vraiment jeune, quelques-uns de mes premiers mémoires étaient de ma grand-mère qui m'enseignait au sujet de l'environnement et les changements climatiques. Mais c'était vraiment Greta Thunberg qui m'a inspiré de prendre l'action et aller plus loin dans ce que je faisais pour le climat.
Et qu'est-ce que tu as pensé de son discours d'hier?
J'ai pensé que son discours hier était vraiment, vraiment bon et exactement ce que le gouvernement a besoin d'entendre.
Tu peux nous rappeler ton nom et ton âge?
Je m'appelle Quinn McCaskill et je suis 14.
Et tu peux écrire ton nom?
Appelez, oui. M-A-C A majuscule S-K-I-L-L.
Merci, Quinn. Je suis tellement fière. Et aussi, sa grand-mère est une ancienne candidate de Parti vert du Canada contre, à l'époque, Scott Bryson. Mais Quinn a fait les décisions elle-même comme militant écolo. So our young people are stepping up and out on their own initiative because it's their future that's at risk. And I, in hearing Greta's speech yesterday, was moved to tears and realized the inadequacy of anything anyone is doing. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one climate leader on the planet right now whose voice should be heeded, and it's Greta Thunberg, and all the young people she's inspired, and all of us grandparents, because we're hardcore. I'll go to the wall for my grandkids. This is not an issue where we cave or compromise. There are two very distinct demographics in this fight. They're the young people, and they're the grandparents. Parents care too, but they're really busy with their jobs. Grandparents, as the judge in the Kinder Morgan dispute said, I don't know if you ever heard this, he said, the prosecutor from the BC government said, we're going to have to increase the fines that we're levying for people arrested at the Kinder Morgan blockade because there's this group and they're not getting the message. We need better deterrence because of the seniors. Yeah. So the seniors, we're not backing down. We're taking care of our grandkids, and it means moving off fossil fuels right away. Now, I have one more thing I have to do. Oh, do you want to speak to this, Laura? Sorry.
Well, I just want to say that Quinn is also one of the reasons why I have decided to become a candidate in this election, why I want to work in federal government to be able to advance these important issues. It's, my own children, my nieces, they were standing alongside Quinn to be able to organize the climate strikes here in Sackville that were in solidarity with a global movement. And there are so many youths who are speaking up to that and who cannot vote in this election. For the first time ever, Quinn came canvassing with me the other day. She has decided to put her support behind me as a candidate, for which I'm very grateful. And we went knocking on doors the other night. Would you be willing to tell the story of,
Sure.
Yeah?
Okay. So when I was out canvassing with Laura, we got to one person's door, and she told us that she was considering not even voting in this election. And as soon as we left her house, I expressed my frustration with this because adults, it's such a privilege that to be able to vote, and for us youth, where the vote in this election, like, our future depends on the results of this election, and to think that someone wouldn't vote, like, it just made me very frustrated because it's such an important thing to be able to vote, and to think someone would throw that away when so many people's lives depend on it just made me very frustrated.
Tu vas le dire en français?
En français encore?
S'il te plaît.
Okay.
Elle va répéter en français.
Je vais essayer. What's canvassing? Porte-à-porte. Okay. Quand je faisais du porte-à-porte avec Laura, on a rencontré une femme qui a pensé qu'elle n'allait pas voter dans cette élection. Et j'étais tellement frustrée quand j'ai entendu ça, parce que le futur de beaucoup de jeunes dépend sur le résultat de cette élection. Et c'est les gens qui ne peuvent pas voter qui dépendent sur ceci. Et de penser que quelqu'un n'allait pas utiliser cette opportunité était vraiment frustrant.
We have one little bit of business to do, and I hope someone can give Laura a pen. Every candidate in the Green Party of Canada signs this pledge, so we thought we'd make this public. It starts with a quote from Simone Veil from an essay she wrote in 1943 on the abolition of all political parties. Quote, "Whenever I shall have to examine any political or social issue, I swear I will absolutely forget that I'm a member of a certain political group. My sole concern will be to ascertain what should be done in order to best serve the public interest and justice." So the pledge will be, I, Laura Rainsborough, well, you can read the pledge and then sign.
I, Laura Rainsborough, hereby pledge to 1. Conduct myself with dignity, showing respect to all living things, including political opponents. 2. Never heckle in Parliament. 3. Maintain an exemplary level of decorum. 4. Work hard. And 5. Earn the trust of my constituents through honesty, diligence, and a commitment to service.
Thank you. So sign that pledge. We think that one of the undercurrents of our, well, why are we different from other parties? Every candidate signs a pledge similar to this in every election. In 2011, our pledge included that we will publish all of our expenses online. It was also in our 2015 pledge. Because the Green Party went first, now the rules in Parliament have changed, and all of the expenses are put up online. So we had to modernize our pledge to add some additional things, because we've done that now. So we move on, and we want to make sure that Parliament becomes a place that we're not embarrassed for our children to watch should they happen upon CPAC. Thank you very much for your time. Merci beaucoup tout le monde d'être ici. Nous avons notre petite visite à l'université ici de Mount Allison. I'm so honored. I have an honorary doctorate from Mount Allison. That was my first honorary doctorate. So we're going to go up there for a little visit. Thank you all for coming. Hey, Quinn, star of stage, screen, and television, come over here. Well done.
Quinn, last question for you. Sorry, where did you travel from? Oh, here's that.
Yeah, but she can't drive, you see.
Not yet.
Not yet, and she won't ever, probably.
I'm thinking candidate in a couple of years.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Leader.
Yeah. Leader, eh?
Succession planning.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks. Okay, we're moving along. Thanks so much. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm handing you over because I got to go right and record before I get out of here.
I don't want to be.
So I got